What's up, everybody? I'm Dr. Zeb, and welcome to the Rehab Christian Center Tuesday night experience. I'm so excited to be here with you and so grateful that you've tuned in from wherever you are and whatever it is that you're doing. I absolutely love life study because life study is really the midweek fuel that we all need to stay focused throughout the week. And sometimes the week be weaking, if that makes sense. And so you need some fuel to keep you focused and energized and always growing and really maturing in the direction spiritually that you desire to go. And so life study is in my opinion, more important than Sunday morning worship. And I always enjoy Tuesdays. I've got a fast one for you tonight. I've got to get ready to catch a very early flight in the morning, but I would not dare miss tonight. I want to talk about resilience. All right. I want to talk about resilience. And so if you're on all of the networks, do me a favor. I want you to heart this video. If you're watching on Instagram at The Rehab Experience, Facebook, The Rehab Christian Center, or YouTube at TheREHABCC, I want you to heart this experience now, like this video, and then go ahead and hit that @ symbol and start tagging and sharing this video with people quickly. I recognize that this is a different time. And as I've said for the last 3 or 4 weeks, thank you so much for your flexibility on Tuesdays for the next couple of weeks. I've got about 3 more weeks, about 3 more weeks that I'll have to come at this time. And then we will be back to our regular time as my children's spring sports will be over. And so I really appreciate your flexibility in allowing me to be a dad and do the things that I need to do. But I'm excited to be here tonight. Let's talk about resilience. Put it in the comments. I'm not wasting time. Again, I got to get up very early for a very early same day flight tomorrow, flying to a city to handle something, be there all day, and then coming right back tomorrow night. So it's going to be a long day for me, but excited. You got to be careful of what you pray for in this season because you might get it. And I'm excited about that. And so I want you to start liking the video, sharing the video now. And then after you do that, I want you to type in the comments now, resilience. That's what we're going to talk about. And I don't have a particular text, but this is really a carry on from Sunday. This was all planned because this series that we've been teaching for the last 7 weeks on Sundays, how to respond when life isn't fair, has been incredibly powerful. And there was a piece of this that I really couldn't get to after we talked about how God restored Job on Sunday and doubled literally everything that he had. One of the things that we could not get to, and you know me by now, I am a practical teacher in every space. I believe that if instruction isn't practical and you can't apply it, it's pointless. And so I believe in giving practical instruction. And so there are 3 things that I want to leave you with tonight. And it's this. I want to leave you with 3 ways to respond when life isn't fair. All right. I want to leave you with 3 ways to respond when life isn't fair. And it's going to be centered around this idea of resilience. Okay. Resilience, in my opinion, is one of those traits. It's one of those characteristics where I don't care what you do and who you are, you want to try to infuse into the fabric of who you are this powerful trait called resilience, right? And resilience is the will to keep going. That's all it is. I want you to record that. Resilience is the exercised will to keep going. Come on, record it. You're going to be the smartest person at the water cooler. I've got to hit you with some fast notes tonight. Record it. Resilience is the exercised will to keep going. Okay? Resilience is the exercised will to keep going. Here's the thing. It's one thing to say that you desire to keep going. It's another thing to exercise that will. And people, a lot of times, express a desire to do stuff, but we all understand that there's a difference between expressed desire and action, right? Saying you want to do something and doing it. Saying you want to be something and then becoming it. Saying you want to achieve something and then working towards it, right? So resilience is the exercised will to keep going. We cannot define that word resilience without the word exercise, because resilience is not resilience until your will is put in motion. All right. Resilience is not resilience until your will or ability or desire to do something is put in motion. And so here's the thing. Job went through bouts and seasons of his life as we studied the entire book of Job and his story, where he struggled with his resilience. He struggled with the exercise will to keep moving forward. I believe Job had a desire up to a certain point to survive and to thrive and to outlast this season of tests that God put him through. but we all know the story well now. There were periods of Job's life, and throughout this story and throughout this trial, these trials he went through, there were periods where he ceased from having the exercise will. And it was the minute that he ceased from having exercise will that you began to see him change his language, right? You begin to see him change his demeanor and his posture and his disposition towards God and towards his struggle. And so exercise will is important, because I want to challenge all of you tonight, when times get hard, to shift your mentality from a desire to make it to the exercise will to make it. All right? Are you listening to me? I want you to shift your desire when things get hard from this desire, from a simple desire to make it, to the exercise desire to make it, right? Because when we exercise that desire or exercise that will, that means we have to do something, all right? And so resilience is critical. I think resilience, I think gratitude, I think focus. There are certain words that really should be at the base foundation of who you are, especially as you live your life and you encounter different challenges in your life. And resilience is certainly one of those words where, if it is at the core of the root of who you are, when things start to come your way, you will shift from just talking and really just believing to actually doing. Faith without what? Works is dead, which even implies that faith isn't really active until there is action on your part. Resilience works the same way. We've got to shift from the will to have and the will to do to the willingness to do, right? Or the willingness to have, meaning we shift from what we want to what we do in order to get what we want. All right. And so resilience is so powerful, and it's exercise will. Now, I want to give you 3 ways to respond when life is not fair. We talked about Job's story. It was powerful and really many nuggets there. But I want to end it with this, because really these 3 things that I give you are going to connect beautifully with this topic called resilience tonight. All right. So the 3 ways I want you to respond when life isn't fair, right? That was the whole overarching theme of the entire series. Number 1, record this. Give yourself some grace. Give yourself some grace. The number 1 way I want you to respond when life is not fair, number 1, give yourself some grace. Give yourself some grace. Many people struggle with being resilient through hard times, frankly, not because they don't have the ability to do, not because they don't have the know-how to do, not because they don't have the competence to do. Some of you beat yourself up so bad that you literally beat the strength out of you that you don't even have the strength to do. Okay. And one of the things that I'm big on in this season of my life, because I lived through a very hard season, where I learned that while I had the will to keep going and the strength, and I talked about it Sunday, being on a live broadcast and breaking down, I was just under so much stress, but still had the will to keep going. The reality of the matter is, will is great, but you've got to give yourself grace. You've got to learn how to be kind to yourself when things get difficult. Because if you're not kind to yourself when life gets hard, you'll beat yourself up so much that you will beat the strength out of you. Are y'all listening to me? This is so good. The short ones are always just gravy. You can literally beat the strength out of you by not giving yourself grace when things get hard, right? So you get overly hard on yourself. You get overly critical on yourself. You start, what the clinical term is, you start catastrophizing, meaning you take something that's bad, but in your mind and out of your mouth, you make it 50 times worse than what it really is, right? It's exaggeration. Right? You do these things because you do not give yourself the necessary strength to keep building forward. And so I want to say to you tonight, first thing you've got to do when you respond, when life is not fair, as it relates to responding, is give yourself grace. Because resilience, I want you to record this, resilience works better with self-grace. Gosh, this is so good. Resilience works better with self-grace. I'm not talking about giving grace out to people, but I'm saying to you that when you give yourself grace, resilience works better, right? Resilience sticks better. You find the ability to move forward, to progress forward, to be encouraged forward when you give yourself the grace to go through hard times, right? And this is also, let me say this quickly. I don't have a lot of time, but let me say this quickly because there's so many nuggets here. This is critically important when you're going through something that is self-induced. Now, Job went through what he went through, but it was of no doing of his own, right? But when you go through something that is of your own doing, meaning you are reaping something you've sown, right? You're getting back something that you put in the atmosphere. That last nugget I gave you about grace and resilience is critical, because what tends to happen is when we are dealing with something that is a result of our own fault, we tend to be 10 times harder on ourselves. And I'm here to tell you, and I told a young lady this that I just met this week, a client this week, and that is, even if what you are dealing with is self-induced, the fastest way to get the strength to move forward is to give yourself forgiveness and grace. Stop being so hard on yourself, right? You made a mistake. Stop being so hard on yourself. You failed. Stop being so hard on yourself. Here's the thing. If God forgave you, everybody else got to get in line. Now, it doesn't mean you take an arrogant posture and say, because people get real arrogant with that. Well, God forgave me. You all too. Don't be arrogant, right? I'm not saying be arrogant. We should all beg the pardon of people that we offend, and we should do it in a sincere and authentic way. But understand that there are some people that, regardless of how much you apologize and how authentic you are in your apologies, they just won't receive your apology. And you got to move on with your life if they don't want to receive it. Okay? But in moving on, instead of carrying the weight or the guilt of the offense that you've given to them, the quickest way to move on and grow is to give yourself the grace to move forward. Resilience works better with grace, especially in those seasons and during those times where you are at fault and are the cause of the things that you're going through. All right. So don't forget that. Y'all going to be the smartest people at the water cooler all week. This is a very powerful lesson. Here's the second thing I want you to do, or second way I want you to respond when life is not fair. All right. We're talking about resilience tonight. If you have not typed the subject in the chat area, I want you to do that now. The second way I want you to respond when life is not fair is this. Don't take everything, this is big, that happens to you personal. Come on, record it. Don't take everything that happens to you personal. If we didn't learn anything from the experience of Job, what we should have learned is that one of the biggest flaws he made is that he literally, like an empath, absorbed everything that happened to him as if it was his fault. He took his troubles personal. And here's the thing. You can't have resilience or persevere through something if you think that everything that happens to you is about you. Y'all, this is about to free you. I need everybody to type this in the comments right now. Oh, I want you to type this in the comments right now. Oh man. Oh man, this is good. I need everybody to type this in the comments right now in all capital letters. You're going to get free right now. This is for those of you that take everything personal. When things happen to you, you always find fault. You absorb it like an empath, as if it's something you've always done. I want you to record this now. You ready? In all capital letters. Put this in all caps. Everything that happens to you is not about you. Come on, y'all. I need y'all to get free tonight. Everything that happens to you is not about you. There are levels to resilience and spiritual growth and spiritual maturity. And you learn how to grow in grace and favor and spiritual maturity when you can get to a point to say, you know what? Some things that I went through is about the mistakes I made, but some things I'm dealing with because my life is aligning, because my focus is aligned, it ain't got nothing to do with me. There are some things you go through that have nothing to do with you. Everything that happens to you is not about you. And you've got to stop taking everything so personal. Right? You got to stop wearing everything that happens to you on your sleeve. All right. Or as a badge, as if you belong it or you own it. No, you got to master the art of owning your part, nothing more and nothing less. Are y'all listening to me? Master the art of owning your part, nothing more and nothing less. The situation that I'm in, I'm dealing with, that's happening to me, that's happening around me, this portion of it is my part. The rest of it isn't mine. And I'm not going to carry what doesn't belong to me. And we can't be surprised when our life feels weighed down. Many of you, your life feels weighed down, not because you did a lot. Your life feels weighed down because, frankly, you're carrying stuff you have no business carrying. And so there are levels to maturity in God in your spiritual walk. Well, when you understand that I'm only going to own the parts that belong to me, nothing more, nothing less, and then realize that everything that happens to me is not about me. Okay? This is so very important and so valuable because, again, just as I said about giving yourself grace, resilience works better. This is important. Resilience works better when you learn how to compartmentalize. Oh gosh, y'all, I'm giving y'all a TED talk. Resilience works better when you learn, oh man, how to compartmentalize. Y'all, I'm giving y'all a free TED talk. This is crazy. Are y'all listening to me? We know what compartmentalization is, right? When we compartmentalize, we say things happen to us, but we put them in our minds and our spirits in the bucket that they belong, right? We don't put something that belongs in bucket A in bucket D. We don't put something that belongs in bucket C in bucket Z, right? We put things in the bucket in which they belong. And so I'm here to lift up to you that resilience not only works better with grace, resilience works better when we learn how to compartmentalize, meaning when we learn how to put things in their proper perspective. When we learn how to put things in their proper perspective, that's when we are able to have the resilience to push forward. People are struggling with the resilience to push forward because they don't have things in their lives in proper perspective, in proper places, in proper categories. Are y'all listening to me? Right? Some of you are struggling with resilience because you're carrying stuff other grown people are doing. Right? Well, Pastor, I love them. I'm glad you do. Well, Pastor, that's my son, that's my daughter, that's my grandson, my granddaughter, that's my husband, my wife. And I feel what they go. I'm glad you do. I would think you were weird if you did not. But the reality is you're going to lift the burden of your life when you learn how to compartmentalize and say they're grown. I prayed for them. I've given them guidance, wisdom, and counsel. They have to make decisions for themselves and live with those decisions. And when I've done my part to help you, I've done all I can. Y'all don't like the way I'm teaching here, but many of you are carrying more than what you have to carry because you haven't learned how to compartmentalize what you go through. So resilience, again, number one, works better with grace, self-grace. And number two, resilience works better when you learn how to compartmentalize. This belongs to me and that doesn't. This stress is mine, that isn't. This pain is mine, that isn't. Right? We've got to train ourselves to do that. And when we train ourselves to do that, then suddenly we don't walk around carrying unnecessary burden. Right? We don't walk around carrying unnecessary heartache. This is the big one. We don't walk around carrying unnecessary stress. Oh God. Would you believe how many people I talk to on a weekly basis who are carrying stress that don't even belong to them, that are carrying stress that really doesn't have their name on it, that is of no doing of their own, but because they have not learned how to manage the things that happen to them or towards them, they absorb everything. And because they absorb everything as empaths, they fail at compartmentalizing what is theirs and what is not. And so, how can you have resilience when you can't put things in their proper category? Come on, y'all. I'm giving y'all my TED Talk preview tonight. How can you have resilience in your life when you don't learn how to put things where they belong? Right? Ever seen the show Hoarders? Ever seen the show Hoarders? I think this is a beautiful example of this. The show Hoarders. I've got y'all 7 minutes. I got to wrap this up, but this is so good. I hate short nights. I got to catch an early flight in the morning. If you've ever seen the show Hoarders, Hoarders is a classic example of people who struggle with not only being, what's the word when you save everything? I can't remember what, a hoarder. Not only struggle with being a hoarder, but they struggle with compartmentalizing. They don't put things where they belong. They have boundary issues. People who don't put things where they belong oftentimes also have boundary issues, because here's the thing. If you will let somebody else's pain bleed into your life, you'll also let somebody else's drama bleed into your life. Come on, y'all. I need to see some hearts, some amens, some you better tell it, Pastor, some something. If you will let other people's pain bleed into your life, if you will let other people's foolishness bleed into your life, you'll also let their drama bleed. And so people who struggle with this also struggle with boundaries so bad. And sometimes I just want to grab people and shake them. Not because I'm Joe Jackson or Ike Turner. I don't want to grab to be abusive. I want to grab people and shake them to get them to understand this does not belong to you. This pain you does not belong. What mama did, even though it hurts, it doesn't belong to you. Hurt people. This struggle you're going through, this stress that you are experiencing over grown children that you prayed over, fasted over, had pastor passed over, prayed over, you've lost weight over, you lost your job over, you nearly lost money in your place over. All of this stress you dealing with, that stuff doesn't belong to you. That's right, Sonae. Sister Sonae, so good to see you again tonight. Yeah, we have to do that. We have to even sometimes tell our loved ones. Some of us don't have this challenge, but I've watched people near and dear to me that I care about really have a hard life, not because they had to, but because doggone it, man, they just couldn't compartmentalize what people were doing and separate that from their own stuff. And so tonight I need you to hear me. Resilience works with self-grace, but resilience also works when you learn how to compartmentalize. You got to put stuff in its proper category. You got to put stuff in its proper perspective. All right. Here's the third way you can respond when life is not fair. We're talking about resilience being that overarching theme of the book of Job. We just spent the last 7 weeks on it. One of the most powerful series I've ever taught, literally. 3 ways to respond when life isn't fair, again, under the guise of resilience. Number 1, give yourself some grace. Number 2, don't take everything that happens to you personal. Here's the third and final thing. You can ask God questions, but never second guess him. Record it. You can ask God questions, but never second guess him. Okay? You can ask God questions. I know we grew up in a time where folks told us, the preacher told us, the pastor told us, our parents told us, you don't question God. You don't second guess God. Well, there's a difference between questioning God and second guessing God. There's a difference between questioning somebody and second guessing them. And because you ask somebody questions does not mean you are second guessing them. When you second guess something, you are doubting it. When you are questioning it, You are asking things to further your own understanding. And I want you to be careful with this, because sometimes we can ask so many questions in the attempt to understand that we end up missing what God's trying to do. And lean not to your own understanding, right? And so there's such a thing as questioning God so much that it blurs the line with understanding, right? So ask questions, but never second guess God, all right? Never second guess him, because when you get to the space of second guessing him, then you're going to struggle with your ability to be resilient. Y'all ready for this? Record this. This is your last note. Resilience works better when you have trust. Resilience works better, yes, baby, when you have trust. Resilience works better when you have trust. Trust in who, Doc? Trust in God, obviously, number one, but also when you have trust in yourself, when you have a belief in yourself. That's big, right? Job would not have gone as deep into depression as he would have gone if he would have never started second guessing himself. And most of the reason why he ended up in trouble was not because he was a bad guy, but he forgot about the guy that God was bragging on in chapter number 1. Because life got hard, Job forgot about the guy that God bragged on in chapter 1. So we got to be careful there, because when we're operating in resilience, we also operate in a space where we not only trust God, but doggone it, you trust yourself. And let me tell you, I've gotten out of some of the darkest seasons of my life. I talked about this Sunday. Many of you were on the call that December 3 years ago, I broke down on the broadcast. Life had literally overwhelmed me, but I was determined to push through and stick to my purpose. It feels great to come out on the other side, but understand this. One of the things that got me through was not only my faith in God, it works, but also belief in myself. I had to stop second guessing myself. I had to stop second guessing my abilities and my purpose and my calling and my gifts and my talents and my character, right? Sometimes when you go through difficult times, you begin to think that you're a bad person, right? You might question that maybe you're dealing with what you're dealing with because you're not a great father, you're not a great mother, or you're not a great person. All of these things are tricks designed to cause you to second guess yourself. And the minute you begin to second guess yourself is the minute your resilience is going to leave you, is the minute your resilience is going to fade away from you. All right. So we don't second guess God. We don't stop trusting God, but almost as important, you gotta stop second guessing yourself. Life is going to happen. Life is going to get a little funky sometimes. Sometimes things are going to hit us out of the blue that we did not manage, that we did not prepare for, that we did not see coming. But I'm here to tell you, none of that is an excuse for you to second guess yourself. You've got to stop second guessing yourself when life happens. I want to give you these 3 points on resilience quickly, and then again, and I'm done. Again, remember, resilience works better with grace. Resilience works better with grace. Resilience works better when you learn how to compartmentalize. Okay? Resilience works better when you learn how to compartmentalize. And resilience works better when you have trust. All right? Resilience works better with grace, being able to compartmentalize, and when you can trust. Did this make sense? Anybody tonight? If it did, fill it up with hearts. Y'all, I hate short nights because short nights be on and popping. It don't take a long time to really get the word that you need tonight. But I hope this was helpful. If it was, I want to see hearts fly up the screens. I want you to like this video really quickly. Listen, I want to pray for you really, really fast. If you've got a prayer request, I'm giving you 30 Mississippi seconds, right? 30 Mississippi seconds. I want you to type your prayer request in the comments right now. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to be up at about 2 in the morning. I got to get up uber early to work out and catch a flight and get out of here, same day trip. long day tomorrow. Y'all pray for me, something big possibly on the horizon. And so I'm going to be up tomorrow at 2 a.m. praying over your prayer requests. And so if you've got a prayer request, I want you to type it in the comments now, because I want to pray for you in the morning. I want to pray for you all week long. I want to pray concerning that situation and circumstance that you're in, because we certainly believe that God is a prayer answering God, and we are excited about that. All right. If you got a prayer request, type it quickly. You got 15 more seconds. Type it. I want to pray with you. We'll sow seed, and we're going to get right off the air on tonight. But man, what a powerful life study. I love Tuesdays and really appreciate those of you that have sacrificed, especially on the East Coast, to tune in later to be a part of tonight's broadcast. Listen, after you type in your prayer request, I want you to connect your hands like this as a sign of symbol of faith. Would you do that for me? Connect your hands like this as a sign of symbol of faith. I want you to touch and agree with me right now as if we are holding hands, because I'm getting ready to pray for you. I'm starting to see prayer requests come through the line right now. Thank you so very kindly for submitting your prayer requests. I'm so excited that you are doing that, because we know that God certainly answers prayers. And man, I'm so excited that you're trusting him at this time. Doesn't matter how hard the time is, how confusing. I see you, Miss Irving. The time may be. God is still in the prayer answering business, and we believe him for that. Listen, let's connect our hands like this. Let's touch and agree. Let's pray. Father, in Jesus' name, thank you tonight for your word. Thank you for this time of gathering and sharing you've given us. It's my prayer that something was said that has encouraged and inspired your people in a tremendous way. Help us, God, to understand the importance of resilience in our lives, and allow us to allow resilience to be the response when things get hard. I lift up to you tonight, God, every prayer request of your people that are watching live, those that have tuned in to watch the replay, those with whom this link of this broadcast has been shared with them. Somebody's watching this broadcast tonight and really needs to persevere through something incredibly difficult. It's my prayer, God, that tonight you would give them the strength to be resilient, that you would give them the strength to trust themselves, to trust you, that you would give them the strength to compartmentalize when things happen in their lives, to compartmentalize and to only hold fast to those things that belong to them. Give them the strength, God, to give themselves grace, that even when things go wrong as a result of our own error and wrongdoing, help us to understand, God, that you are a God of grace and a God of mercy. And so it is my prayer, God, that somebody tuned in tonight that has an incredible circumstance will believe through this word that they serve an incredible God. It's my prayer that every prayer request that's been typed on the line, that's been emailed to our inbox, that maybe is on the hearts and minds of somebody so deeply ingrained that they don't have the strength to type it or express it. God, we lift these requests up to you now and ask now that you would answer the prayers of your people as only you can. Do me a favor, God, just one selfish favor. I want you to make ways for your people as only you can. Open doors, meet needs, grant the heart's desires of your people as only you can. And we make you this promise. We'll never take the credit, but we'll always give your name the glory, honor, and the praise. We count these things done in Jesus' name. Amen. Do me a favor. I want you to type in the comments quickly. It is so. If you prayed that prayer of faith with me, I want you to type in the comments quickly. It is so. It is so. It is so. I want you to know God's answering your prayers. He's making ways. He's opening doors and meeting needs for you. And I'm so very excited about that tonight. And I certainly hope and pray that you are as well. Listen, really quickly, this message, this ministry has been a blessing to you. The ways to give should be on the screen. You can give via CashApp, $REHABCC give. You can give through our website, www.rehabcc.org, and choose online giving. Or you can text REHABWORKS to 336-642-3210. That's REHABWORKS to 336-642-3210. You can give either one of those three ways. Give your tithes, give your offering, give a seed tonight. And we believe that you will be blessed because of your sacrifice and because of the way you poured into this ministry. And we certainly want God to do exactly that. Listen, y'all, I love y'all. I'm praying for y'all. I'm rooting for you. Don't forget, the scripture for the week is Proverbs 19. Proverbs chapter 19 is our scripture for the week. Explanation Thursday. We're going to be live and on the air 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Instagram only, discussing Proverbs chapter 19. Tomorrow and Thursday are going to be very long days for me, but we're going to be here. We're not going to miss anything on the schedule, and we can't wait to see you all week long. And I want you to know that we're rooting for you. All right, we're rooting for you and we're praying for you. Listen, love y'all, praying for y'all. Do me a favor with y'all tonight. If you would remember, just remember Pastor in your prayers tonight. Pray for me tomorrow. Nothing bad. It's great things happening. So many things I can't even really talk about right now. But just say a prayer for me. But I love you. I'm praying for you. I'm rooting for you. And I will see you Thursday morning for Explanation Thursday, 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Instagram. And if not, then I'll see you Sunday morning, 9:08 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Love you, praying for you, rooting for you. Peace and blessings. Have a fantastic evening.